Queen's Shadow just came out, and with every new book, I like to put together a list of references and Easter eggs that are too small to cover in their own videos. So let's dive into all the fun facts I picked out. There will be some spoilers for the story ahead. We learn a lot about Padme's wardrobe. The dresses are meant to be so much more than simply beautiful and ornate. Their size allows them to hide technology like recording devices and personal shields. The bulkier dresses basically had escape hatches built into them in case the queen needed to make a fast getaway. They were woven with something called Carlini silk, which protected the queen from blaster fire. And of course, the entire getup was designed to help the decoy system work. The makeup allowed handmaidens to more easily disguise themselves as the queen, but the extravagant headdresses and outfits also helped keep the attention off the handmaidens, allowing them to more easily move around an event, eavesdrop, or perform more acts of espionage. Many of Padme's handmaidens get at least some time in the spotlight, most notably Sabe, Keira Knightley's character in The Phantom Menace. This isn't part of the book, it's just a cool behind-the-scenes fact, but Natalie Portman's own mother said she couldn't tell the difference between Keira and her daughter when they were in full costume on set. It's confirmed by Padme that Qui-Gon was never fooled by the decoys in Episode 1. Elections on Naboo happened every 2 years, so Padme served 2 terms, a total of 4 years, before becoming a senator. The queen that followed her was named Rialata, and it was her 2nd term. Queen Jamilia was probably the next queen, serving the end of her 2nd term in Attack of the Clones. We also learned that there are no term limits for members of the Galactic Senate. Gungans did not have the right to vote in Naboo elections until the end of The Phantom Menace. It's also mentioned that the Gungans were displaced when humans first settled on Naboo, similar to the way American settlers treated the Native American population. That goes a long way to explain why relations between the two species were so tense in Episode 1. Near the end of the book, Padme decides to add Jar Jar to her delegation to represent Gungan interests. Captain Panaka's absence from Attack of the Clones is given more history. He retired at the end of Padme's 2nd term as queen and was replaced by his wife, Mariek Panaka. Typho also enters Padme's service at this time, and we learn that he lost his eye during the Battle of Naboo. Speaking of the battle, thanks to Battlefront 2, we know Naboo installed an ion pulse to protect their city from future invasions. It's still being installed in the book. It's mentioned that Captain Panaka lobbied for more aggressive defenses on the planet, a belief which lost him the trust of Padme and many local politicians. His philosophies here are not only sympathetic given his history, but are also in line with Imperial policies, so his eventual role as Moff makes complete sense. Padme was part of the Junior Legislative Program before she became queen, the same program her daughter Leia joins in the book Leia, Princess of Alderaan. As she becomes a senator, the media calls her a puppet queen and speculates on who could be pulling her strings as a senator. I think that has to be a nod to Palpatine and his puppeteering of the entire galaxy at this point. We get to see Padme's first interactions with a number of characters from the Clone Wars series. Rush Clovis is a prominent side character, and we get to see the extent of the romantic relationship hinted at in the episode Senate Spy. The episode Rise of Clovis mentions a hearing in which Padme and Rush work to save a planet from drought and famine, and we get to see all of that unfold. Depa Billaba, who very briefly appears in The Phantom Menace, assists Padme and Clovis on their mission. Mina Bonteri, the separatist senator of Onderon, is shown as an early friend, and her son Lux is mentioned. Her philosophies on planetary rights pretty clearly hint towards her future. Count Dooku, or at least his voice, get a couple cameos through conversations overheard by Padme. This shows us that the separatist plot was moving forward as early as 5 to 6 years before Attack of the Clones. Anaconda Farr, the Rodian family member who briefly betrays Padme in the Clone Wars episode Bomb Bad Jedi, also makes a handful of appearances. A question I've seen pop up a lot is why didn't Padme, or anyone, try to rescue Shmi Skywalker from slavery? Queen's Shadow gets into that. Padme regrets that she was too busy rebuilding her own planet to worry about Tatooine, but as soon as she is able, she sends Sabe to Tatooine to rescue slaves. 25 are saved, but Shmi could not be found in Mos Espa. Sabe is unable to find her or Watto, so the search is cancelled, but we know Shmi is safely with the Lars family by now. The only clue as to her whereabouts was a white sun carved into the door of her old house. White Sun was Beru's maiden name, so that could be a hint that Beru was working to rescue slaves on her home planet. The 25 rescued slaves are delivered to the Carlinus system near Naboo, known for its booming agricultural economy. The system was first introduced in the Legends Essential Atlas. Padme and Sabe later have a covert meeting on Coruscant in Club Karaveg. That club was first mentioned in the new Essential Guide to Droids in 2006. When Sabe moves to Coruscant, she gets an apartment near Dex's diner. We get to read a number of news reports from Trinebulon News. It was created for Legends material, but was first mentioned in canon in the Rebel Files reference book. There's a grove of Alderaanian Chinar trees on Coruscant. Their existence is noted as a luxury seen on Canto Bight after the destruction of the planet. Padme gets to visit Alderaan and meet Breha Organa, the woman who will one day raise her daughter. Breha's brush with death and the pulmonodes that have replaced her lungs and heart are mentioned, all of which were first detailed in the book Leia, Princess of Alderaan. And for once, there's a mention of traveling between planets and acclimating to different time zones. I wouldn't be surprised if that's come up before, but either way, it's so rare that I felt it was worth pointing out. Rick Ollier is mentioned, but is no longer Padme's pilot after suffering some sort of ear injury. R2-D2 is of course present occasionally throughout the book, but he is used surprisingly little. Padme mentions a charm she wears around her neck on a couple occasions that symbolizes good luck and memory. It's not overtly stated, but she still wears Anakin's Japor snippet. At one point, Padme talks about her relief work on the planet Shada by Boran. That was originally going to be mentioned in a deleted scene from Attack of the Clones, but it did make it into the novelization for the film. The details she recalls match up with what happened in Star Wars Legends. Padme's father, mother, sister, and eldest niece all make appearances in the book as well. They can be briefly seen in Revenge of the Sith, and were also meant to have more significant screen time in Episode 2, but wound up on the cutting room floor. Even Padme deals with parental expectations. Despite her great accomplishments, her mother wishes she had gone into music rather than politics. In Attack of the Clones, C.O. Bibble expresses his anger at Newt Gunray being allowed to lead the Trade Federation after 4 trials in the Supreme Court. The verdict of the 4th trial is passed near the end of the book. The epilogue of the story happens shortly after Padme's funeral. Panaka is named governor of the planet by Palpatine without an election. Sabe plans to investigate Padme's death, but is contacted by Bail Organa. It's ambiguous, but I believe that means she could have had a hand in protecting and training Leia. And those are all the little details I picked out of the book. There's a lot of great stuff in there. If you're interested in actually reading the story for yourself, consider picking it up for free on Audible. Just follow the link in the description or visit www.audibletrial.com/Star Wars Explained. The audiobook is out right now, and the production value on all the Star Wars books is very high, with sound effects and music. It's like listening to a movie. Signing up for an Audible trial will get you a credit for 1 free book, and you can use it on Queen's Shadow, or just about any Star Wars book you can think of, or get any book you want. The point is, you get a free book, and you'll be supporting the channel when you do. But that's it for today. If you haven't already, please like this video, subscribe to the channel, follow us on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook, and consider checking out our Patreon page. As always, thanks for watching, and may the Force be with you.